Welcome to the Buylist. This is episode 18.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard. Let's dive into it, Ted. I don't even think it caught it this time. I went like outside so I wouldn't hit my mic.
You did hit the camera that time, Nate.
Oh, I got it. Great.
Yeah. So
Great. Put me in, coach.
yeah, what do we're talking about a lot of things here, Nate. We got a packed episode. Yeah, let's just dive right into it. Let's not dilly-dally too much. So first thing, right before the episode, right before we started recording, Eloquence was revealed. Star City Games exclusive promo for buying a case. So it says when you play a non-attack action card, destroy this card, it gets go again. The card gets go again, yeah.
Tomatoes.
Yeah. So we got a couple cards up here that we think are right off the top. Obviously, we don't know the rest of the set of Dusk Till Dawn, but these are some of the targets that we thought of right away. Tome of Torment, Blood Deck card. Yeah, this could be really good.
Card's been garbage basically since it came out. There's like everyone looked at it and was like, maybe you're cute, but then everyone's like, I don't really want to spend an entire shackle to draw one card.
It's been down more than up, but it did see a little bit of a resurgence once Creepers was printed.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say resurgence, it was like tested. I don't think it ever was ran in anything too serious and like any chains that, you didn't see it at Pro Tour or anything, probably not too often. But with Creepers, it does give you the ability to gain some action points. Well, not gain, but just like keep yourself up, right? Because you could shackle it, then you Creepers it, then you have the go again and the play it as an instance, so you gain some AP there. Next set of cards, these cards were played a lot, huh, Nate?
Yeah, I mean they're rares, but like looking at what we've seen so far from Prism, it did not look like she was going to be a super big fan of kind of the old Spectra mechanic. I think that it depends on how easily Eloquence is to create, right? I think Vincetti, the spaghetti monster, can probably, like, if she has a way to play it at all, Tome of Findale is going to be insane because she also has the ability to cheat action points on non-attacks already. So then being able to create...
She might. We don't know anything.
I mean, Creepers.
Oh, yeah, Creepers. Yeah.
So Creepers,
we don't know her ability yet. Yeah.
Yes. So adding cards like Tome and Tome of Torment into your deck is a much lower deck building constraint because she already has a way to cheat in these non-attack actions that don't have go again.
Yeah.
So then Eloquence just boosts the consistency of having these cards in the deck. It makes them really good. Prism gets interesting with the Spectra cards because typically the play pattern that she had before was like end or turn.
Yeah, if you're listening, we're talking about the 3 blue auras we have up on the screen here. Yeah, so that's what Nate was referring to as rares. I realized we didn't call them out. Pierce Reality, Passing Mirage, and Haze Bending.
Yeah. So if she has a way to generate this on a like regular basis, these become very good because before she would just drop them at the end of the chain and it would give aggro decks the ability to kind of like throw something at her face and then like throw their weapon into this at the very end of the chain and like not even get the full value outside of like the quote unquote block.
Yeah.
But being able to just like lead out your turn with a Pierce Reality and then go like Big Herald now for 8. And so you immediately get that +2 effect and they have to kill it on the back end. Like that's kind of insane value. That's like dragon level value, but it's a blue.
Yeah, like, it's really strong.
Yeah. And taking their entire action point to kill this thing is also great. So Pierce Reality and Passing Mirages are the ones that I'd be looking at right now, but Haze Bending has the potential if there's additional auras.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think overall, Nate, lots to see yet. Obviously, like I said, these are just our couple right off the top, like targets. that we know of, right? Or existing cards. I think Eloquence is a really cool token. My gut's telling me that it's going to be pretty hard to create it. Like it's going to be pretty rare.
I hope not.
I hope not either, because if Vincetti the spaghetti monster, as you call her now, Vincetti Spaghetti can create these, oh boy, I am game, because like you had mentioned this with creepers and any number of in the Toma Findel, Toma Torment, we're going to school. We're going to school, boy. Get your
But
books.
get your books ready.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's my guess is that LSS will like lead out with this initially, kind of like how they did with Ponder, where it was like,
yeah,
what are we doing with this whole Ponder thing? And then the next step was like Ponder Bonanza. So
yeah,
they might lead out a light with it here, see if it's too busted, and then maybe scrap it in the next set if it's too
yeah.
busted.
Yeah,
Um,
my thought with it is that it reads so good that it limits non-attack design space a little bit, because you have to be careful, because like I already think that like Toma Findel, if your deck can make these, then like Tome is just like, oh my god, right?
shh, Ted, don't tell him. Don't tell him. Don't
Don't
tell him.
tell.
Okay.
Oh,
I
the fact that we told them what 2 or 3 episodes ago to buy Toma Findels.
I mean,
Obviously, we
listen,
didn't see this coming, but like, come on.
Ted, listen. If you've listened to this podcast long enough, we all know I'm a freaking oracle. Okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
listen, I said it weeks ago. Buy Toma Find Out. Did I know why? No, but I knew. I
I
knew in
felt
my
it,
heart of
felt
hearts.
it, felt it.
Also, can we just like LSS is like every step of the way, they're just throwing freaking curveball after curveball. They're like, you guys are gonna have to wait until June 30th for your spoiler season.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they just drop
Just
in
kidding.
back-to-back spoilers with
Yeah,
like and it's just like the hype cycle, the way they just like toy with your brain.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. And then like we didn't even talk about the like Shyvana special or Shiana.
Oh,
What
Shiana, yeah.
That's a League of Legends character. Whoopsie. Um, listen, nobody plays Blitz, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I honestly did not read it.
It's
Like name a card, flip. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. You'll have to go somewhere else to find the
yeah,
spoiler on
you ain't
that.
getting that content here. So
Yeah. All right, Nate. Yeah. With that being said, let's jump over to a little bit of RTN discussion.
yeah.
Nate, how did your RTNs go this weekend?
So it went really well. We might be doing a little bit of a spicy deck tech later. I went 14-1 over the weekend with my Lexi deck. Took down. We ended up doing a prize split because I wanted to go home because it was late.
Mm,
So I kept the Jupil, he kept the store credit. Um, I just wanted one for the collection. But I thought it was an interesting conversation of like, where do we see this ending up? Because right now you look at the buyers and the sellers, they are vastly different. Buyers are
mhm.
200 plus, or sellers are 200 plus, and buyers are
Like like 100.
100, 125.
I would not
Um,
be buying at that, by the way.
you wouldn't buy at 125?
I think 100. I start getting piquing my interest a little bit.
I have said I would buy a lot at 100. Um, I think how many? This is we were
In my
we
in
were,
my
I was
heart,
gonna.
I want to say LSS has something cooking here, but then when I read the card, Nate, I'm like,
It's
I
just
struggle.
cold. It's just cold foil. If this is Marvel,
Yeah, if it was Marvel, like a first Marvel here weapon, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, well, there's Marvel weapons, but they
Is
just
there?
decided to. Yeah, the battle axe is Marvel and Hanabi Blaster.
Oh yeah, the blackout
And
marbles. I'm thinking like the flip it over full art. Yeah, yeah,
that too. That too.
yeah, yeah.
They could.
Either one of those would be sweet.
I think the fact that it's just a basic cold foil is going to hold down the price from, and it's like you look at Icelander from last season. Icelander was like 150, I think, at its lowest. Now it's like 500, but also she was like not super playable at its lowest too.
Yeah, I was asleep at the wheel because I wanted to get one of those. And when they were 150, I was like, yeah. That would be nice. But by the time that I got around to thinking about it, they were already kind of gone, like 450. And I was
Yeah.
like, I can't spend $450 on it.
Yeah. I think
I don't see this. I don't know about this card, man. I don't, like you said, I think the value on this is not, like you said, it not being a Marvel kind of holds it back. I kind of wonder, I think we talked about this obviously before we started the pod. It was when this came out, the reaction was kind of like salty. Um,
yeah.
my thought is that I think it might be an overall good direction for LSS for Road to Nats to kind of tone down the winning prize just a bit, because that means that it's like a little, it kind of differentiates it from a pro quest a little bit more, which is nice. I think is, well, it's not nice, but I think it's good for them to do that, right? Because they want to build that pyramid. We've all seen the organized play pyramid, right? And like really when the prizes were like extended our tunics, and then the pro quests were like gold foils, like the prize was, in my opinion, almost at the same level, or maybe even the tunic was um more sought after, right? So
Yeah. I think like if I so on Saturday I went 5-0 in Swiss. I lost my top 8 match. I played one of the Dory that I played in Swiss, and like she just demolished me. Um, but if I win that game, I'm not making a 2-hour drive the following day
yeah,
because Jubila is not worth a 2-hour drive in my mind. Like
no,
my goal is just to qualify for Nats. I'm queued for Vegas, so I'm going to Vegas. Now, if it was a gold foil and I got the day off, no kids,
yeah, yeah, and I think,
potential $1,000, I'll take that.
I think it's, now that we're talking through it a little bit more, I kind of like the idea where maybe road to Nats keep, I don't know. I might get some flack for this, right? But like because of this prize, just like you said, right? I think it kind of keeps your RTNs like more local, and it kind of spreads out invites a little bit. Invites don't repeat. People aren't like as cutthroat for it, right? Being like, oh, I'm going, I have my invite, but I really want that gold foil or that extended art
Yeah,
tunic for an example of the first RTN,
yeah,
right? So like I think it overall probably helps spread invites out.
yeah, I agree. I think I hope they don't do anything for like different for ProQuest. I think they want to keep that pricing the same and like
Yeah.
that really like high level competition. But yeah, I think that it's a good way to keep RTNs. Like I don't have any interest in going anywhere out of my way for an RTN now to try to qualify again.
Yep. Yeah,
So
for sure. Okay. So as we had promised last week, let's jump into some Majestics from Monarch and see where they're sitting. We have reviewed some of these in the past. Again, we're doing some repeats here, but just checking in again as we're what, a month or so out
mhm.
from Dusk Till Dawn. So what I did here, Nate, and what we talked about was just I went and grabbed the top three Majestic Shadow slash Runeblade cards, and then we'll talk about the light cards next. So these three here, Sonata Arcanics, Shadow of Ursa, Shadow Puppetry, just like the staple of the staples. Like Sonata
Mhm.
is seeing play right now, actually, and and Viz, and probably in Briar. I think you probably run three in Viz, and then maybe two or three or in Briar as well.
Yeah,
Unlimited $6, first 750, not bad. These are non-foil, by the way, non-foil prices. Not a bad price for this card. Yeah. So I think, I mean, overall strong card. I would say $6 is not a bad price for these. It's not probably, I don't know. It probably doesn't get any much cheaper than this, considering it's playable in three heroes and probably going to be possibly played in Vincent.
yeah. I think overall, like Chain did not run this card, so it depends on how like
Yeah.
Vincent's engine works. I think that does this card say you can target anyone with the arcane image?
It says target hero.
So you can target yourself.
Yes.
So, all right. We all know I'm an oracle. So here's my conspiracy theory. Vincett's hero ability has something to do with self-harm. So Sonata Arcanix can target yourself. You can draw a card, target yourself, gain advantage by dealing yourself an arcane,
Hmm.
and additionally keep your creepers around for all the Tome of Fyendals you're going to be creeping into play.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean that is a thought. I I don't think it's crazy, Nate. I don't like the idea of hurting yourself, aka Levia. God.
it's like a controlled burn, right? Like Levia
Yeah.
is just like,
Whoops,
oopsie
I'm
doodle, I
dead.
got 16 blood debts sitting over there. I hope I can do my thing, otherwise I die. Like
Yeah.
she's gonna be like strategically like taking the damage to like gain an advantage and then trying to like push that advantage forward. Where it's not like every turn she's like sitting on this like razor wire about to fall off. Like she's like
Yeah,
really gonna be manipulating life totals like skull cap,
yeah.
like trying to make sure that she's like eking out every advantage she can. That's
Yeah.
my theory, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be right because I'm an oracle.
Yeah, I mean, we already saw the flail, right? So
Yeah,
there is some indicators to point in that direction, which would be super interesting. I'm in for it.
yep,
Let's figure it out. I'm all for those Shadow Room Blade puzzles. So second card here, Shadow of Ursa. We've talked about this. $2.43 for the unlimited, $8.95 for the first edition for this card. Again, non-foil. So not to we've talked about this card, right? Shadow Versa, just good. It's just it gets go again. It helps you. I mean, it's could be a 3 of, depending, how close she plays or how much she wants to play. If she wants to play any of the pool for Monarch, I think this card is a 3 of. Like, you know what I mean? If they're going back to like use some of the cards, obviously, right? And which I
yeah.
think they have to. I think this card seems like it's a must add. But it really depends on how she works. One thing that I do want to, getting long winded here, Nate, but one thing that I want to sidebar a little bit on is that, and we'll see it more in the light cards, but this card here, which I found very interesting. So Monarch first, just a non foil, is what, 3 times is more expensive than the unlimited, which I
Mhm.
find kind of interesting because you don't really see that. Obviously, alphas, pink, stuff like that. You see that you see that large difference. But Tails obviously doesn't have this, right? I think I would say the first editions are maybe $1 or $2 more, if that.
Yeah,
But we're starting to see this breakaway a little bit, and you can see it on Shadow Puppetry too if you're watching on YouTube, which I think everybody is, but you might be listening to us.
yes, yeah, yeah,
Um, so Shadow Puppetry Unlimited is $5.90. First is $10.24 right now. So it's like not quite double, but it's close.
yeah.
I find this very interesting when I look this up. That first edition actually is holding a little bit more value at the moment over Unlimited.
I mean, but it's not with Sonata, which is kind of unique,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, it it is interesting. I don't know how much stock I would put into it.
yeah. It
If
could
this
be
is
hype,
a
right?
multiplier thing or just like a like $5, $10 spread. Because even crew, like a lot of the crew majestics for like non-foils versus like unlimited, the spread is not very large.
Yeah,
Um, it just depends on the card and where things sit, and like it is
yeah,
kind of it's odd. I don't think it's anything that I would like chalk up and be like digging deeper into the numbers, like
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
find the
I think
find the
we're
root on the quarters.
Yeah, I think we're looking at just hype, right? I think
Yeah,
Monarch first got targeted as soon as Dust of Dawn came out because it's obviously just a more rare set, right? I don't think we even know the print run numbers of Monarch Unlimited, but it's
yeah.
probably uh, a billion.
It is not one
It
billion.
is not. It is not. That is a joke. That is a joke. It is a lot
I
though.
Yeah, I think it would be. I would be surprised if it's less than 300,000,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
which is a lot.
Um, yeah, and
So
then
I I do think like little victory lap for Ted here though. Like we talked about these cards. Like you brought this up a while ago, and I'm pretty sure Puppetry was like $1,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Shadow Verser was
Yeah.
like $1. I think Shadow Verser is very interesting. It We don't know how Vincent is going to be able to get cards into the Banish Zone right now,
Hmm.
and this is one way to do it. It has the downside though of breaking the rune chance that you would
I
want
was
to
just
open
gonna
the rune
say it
gateway.
currently doesn't it currently hurts rune gating from the one
It,
card we've seen.
it hurts and helps rune gating. So
Yeah, yeah.
it depends on like where we think how where these rune chants are coming from and how many cards will have rune gating, or like maybe rune gating 3 is like super expensive and like not worth it, but like maybe there's like rune gate 1 or rune gate 2 and that's like
Yeah.
actually like very viable.
Or I've seen some speculation too, and I think it could be kind of cool. I don't know how much text Vincent will have on her, but maybe she like has a way to negate like the first time you attack rune chance don't pop or something, or like you can choose. I don't know. There's a lot of things they can do. That's kind of, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, shadow puppetry. Yeah, like you said, it is. Yeah, we talked about this. You could have had this at like $2. I think I bought my rainbow foils at like $2, $3.
Mhm.
Um, the ship is sailing, folks. I think this card is like a non. Uh, this card is a. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say there is no caveats with this card. I think this is a 3 of. Like it gives you go again, and it has an on hit. So let's go.
+1, yeah, +1
Plus
peekaboo.
one, yeah.
Yeah,
With a peak and a banish. Oh boy.
yeah,
This is going in the deck.
yeah.
Okay. Let's I think that's enough for the shadow cards. Let's jump over to the light cards, Nate. Yeah, I'll let you take these.
Sorry, we had to cut this part. I was dying slowly, so it's gonna be a little bit of a jump here. That's called the professional segue, folks. All right,
Yes.
so for our OCD listeners in the audience, I'm gonna do this in reverse. So we're gonna start with Soul Shield. Great card, going to be a must play in Prism. It goes in the Soul. It costs 2. It's incredibly on rate and blocks really well. And if we look at the meta now that Old Him has LL'd, Azalea, Bravo become great decks.
Mm-hmm.
Dominate is a keyword that they enjoy. Blocking 6, good.
Yeah.
Put card in deck.
Yeah.
Um, and if Bolton gets any support, Soul Shield, great.
Yeah.
If we get Light Dory, which y'all know, I know because James White told me personally that we're getting Light Dory. He actually didn't tell me that, but I wish he would. James White, send me the spoiler. Um, Soul Shield's just gonna it's going to go up.
Yeah.
It's a light staple. It will always be a light staple card. Um, and then Genesis, I'm not 100% sold that this is going to be a card that Prism necessarily wants to play. But
Yeah.
if she has that threshold of I need X cards in Soul to like Super Saiyan, Genesis is a great card.
Yeah.
Um, but it's still always, I don't know. 4 is a lot. It costs a
Yeah,
lot.
four is a lot, especially now that you're paying 2 for your weapon. But this card is one of those, like we looked at the blue auras before, right? Pierce Reality was actually one of, I think, not on the same level of Genesis, but it was one of those. If you play this game, you know what to look for, and like Genesis, Pierce Reality, were like this must die next turn, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's like Mirror Guy, Genesis. It's like, there's a couple cards that illusionists play out that you're like, I can't let this take a turn, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no way, and Genesis was definitely one of those. So I can, it's just good, right?
Yeah.
If you left it alive back in old Prism, you might have lost the game.
Yeah. It's always like the when you lost those games of Prism where you're like, yeah, I just started going face and then I don't know what happened. and then you realize it was like, yeah, I just left a Genesis on board, and it created about 15 spectral shields.
Yeah.
Or like I left Pierce Reality on the board, and I'm pretty sure that blue aura turned into a 0 for 10.
Yeah.
Like that, those are the moments where you lose the game. But I think it's a good card. I think she might run it. I think that if if her adult version has 32 life, which is like double the current young version that we've seen, running no blocks in your deck is going to be scary.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be really hard, and maybe that's why she does have less health, Nate, is because it's like a soft ban on Spectra, right? Be like, yeah, go ahead, play ALS and Genesis, see how long you live.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Th- Those no blocks are real cute.
yeah,
Right up
super
until you get
powerful.
smushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Herald of Erudition. You guys know I like to draw cards. Drawing
Hmm.
cards is fun. So I told Findel's the best card. Um, this one says draw 2 as well and dominate. So I think especially with
Also, it
the
says
new,
Herald.
it does say Herald, and because your weapon sucks now, all you Prism stands. Um, this is the only thing that makes that weapon look good. Like
uh,
this is the one card that makes it like look reasonable. You can pitch a blue. If you have Tunic up, you can go 5 dominate. I'll pay for to give it go again. I'll draw 2 cards, and then maybe I'll have some semblance of a turn.
yeah,
Um, so I think like Herald of Erudition has always been a great card. It's always like the spookiest card you can possibly see.
yeah,
Um, and it's the one card that everyone is always thinking about against Prism is like, all right, I got to keep this armor up because
yeah. I was
if I
just
don't
gonna
have a
say
popper,
my grass just stayed there,
yep, it
and
just
they just waited. Like, what is
yep,
your purpose in life? It was
yeah,
to block an erudition.
yes.
Just like you just chill, chill, chill.
You don't do anything. I'm
Husk
gonna
got the
literally
first
write,
one.
yeah, I'm gonna write Herald of Erudition on my hard case, so I know what this thing is supposed to block.
Yep.
And that's like it, that, and then the second one gets Crown of Providence in a 3 block, and then
Right.
the third one gets my Spellbound Creepers in my Grasp in a 3 block. So it's
Yeah.
like this card doesn't get to play the game,
Yep.
but that's also what makes a Pierce Reality kind of interesting with the
Yeah.
Coalescence, like playing that first and then going in the Herald for 7.
Yep.
Come at me, bro. How are you gonna block
Yeah.
7?
Yeah. No, for sure. That's a good point, Nate. But yeah, so that's yeah, so that's the
It's the
cards we
most
wanted to
light
look
cards.
at. And
Yeah.
we'll jump back here. But yeah, so that's gonna kind of wrap up the episode. Um Yeah, so I think, yeah, lots of cards to look at. I'm super excited that they're leaking out these little bits of spoilers here and there because spoiler season felt like it was forever away. And
Yeah.
it's smart for them to keep just people,
The slow drip.
yeah, the slow drip, just, and I'm glad this time around they didn't give us a card that referenced a token and then just didn't spoil it to the very end or till
Yep.
spoiler season because they did that on, I think you mentioned a ponder token or something. It was like, what does a ponder token do?
Yeah, no
It was
no
just
one
like,
knew what it did.
yeah, it was crazy. So I think
Yeah.
they learned that lesson, which I'm happy about. So
Yeah, yeah. I think LSS continues to like impress with how they handle the release, the staying kind of like in front of people, listening to the community.
yeah,
It's the reason why I love this game is like they consistently just listen and do better consistently.
yeah,
They know there's
iterative
a lot.
improvement, which is nice.
Yeah. My wife literally asked me, like when I was talking about like trying to qualify for nationals, and I was like, there's 2 this weekend, and then I have 1 draft the following weekend. She's like, "Is that it?" And I was
Hmm.
like, "That's all I can go to."
Yeah.
I was like, "And the other one's on your birthday, so I don't want to go to that one." Um, so she's like, but she was so used to like last year where it was like bang, bang, bang,
Oh,
bang, bang,
yeah.
bang, bang. And it was just like it was like nonstop events, and she was getting burnt out, and I was getting burnt out. So like the dialing back and is really helped. I think a lot of people who like just can't grind all year long. So
Yeah, and RTN season, once RTN season wraps up, we got a skirmish season, which is great for new players. I would
we didn't even talk
suggest.
about the Genesis promos.
No, we didn't. But yeah, Genesis Cold Foils coming in the skirmish season. But yeah, to your point is that skirmish season, I would say for veterans out there, go out there, help new players, right? Make those very inviting for new players and locals getting into the game, because that's what they're there for.
Yep.
It's not supposed to be super sweaty RTN or PQ. So go do that. Be a
There's Cool Genesis on the
I
line, Ted.
know,
It's gonna
I
be
know.
sweaty.
It's a pretty sweaty. It's gonna be pretty sweaty. But yeah. Uh, but then after that, there's really kind of like a little bit of a break. It looks like we get a break this year going into Nats, and then yeah, so it'll be fun.
All right. What is more valuable, Cold Tribule or Cold Genesis? What
It's gonna be it's obviously gonna be the Jabeel because there's less of them, but
you think so?
well, there's two per skirmish, and skirmishes are very
But you need 3 in a deck.
Valid point. It might be the Genesis. If the Genesis is playable, then it might be Genesis.
I don't think they put it in there if it ain't.
Yeah, interesting.
Mhm.
But all right,
What are you buying this week, Ted?
what am I buying this week?
Well, what have you bought this week if you're not
What have
buying
I
anything?
bought? Yeah, so this week I finished up some of my rainbow foil room blade cards. I picked up a playset of Mordred Tides, Arknight Ascendancy, and what was it? Just some other handful of stuff. Mordred Tide's like the big ticket item there. Got a Viz deck to 100% foiled. We'll get Vincent to 100% rainbow foiled. So that's pretty cool. Going to play that at Pitt this weekend. Oh, to bury the lead here. No episode this weekend since I will be in Pittsburgh at the Brawl. So we'll have to take a 2-week hiatus and then come back to the EV episode after that.
Yep.
What are you buying, Nate?
I always say I'm not buying anything, and then I went out and I bought Marvel Crown and Dominion.
Nice.
I think Dynasty is kind of like interesting in like the higher end hits are very hard to pull, and that set is collapsing financially. So people are not going to be opening them. Like you look at right now, Crown of Dominions, there's only 6 left. I hadn't gotten one yet, and I was like, I'm not playing this game like the CNC game. I'm just going to get one now, and not have to worry about it because I think the Crown of Dominions are pretty hard to come by. So like I picked one up for like 210. I think they're sitting about like 250 now, but I think there's only like 3 left before 300.
Yeah, that card's gonna see itself just pop up into decks every once in a while, and getting the Marvel will be real beneficial if you're looking to collect those types of things.
There's just a lot of really thin inventory for Dynasty, and I don't think people realize like the Marvels are pretty thin on inventory, like Marvel Soraya, Command and Conquer. There's just not a lot available. So when someone wants one, it's just gone, and then like there's no backfill for this inventory either.
Yeah, those cards end up being very rare. I think Dynasty will look back on it and realize that Dynasty was the first set where rarity kind of just changed for those higher end cards. I don't have like my proof is anecdotal because I just opened it on the stream for like 3 months, but like 1 box at a time, 2 boxes a week. But not hitting a Command and Conquer is to me is pretty telling. I think that card's very rare. I hit 1 Soraya, which hard to hit. I think those cards are hard. Yeah, and then 1 Crown, and I bought that off of one of my viewer instantly. So I was like, because Nate, you told me to buy them, and I did, and you didn't take your own advice.
I know. Yeah, I should have picked them up when they were like 150. I was stupid. I was just waiting. And like the more you wait, like you look at like Tiara, like I just looked at Tiara and it was like $60. I was like, I should have been picking that one up when it was like in the 30s.
Yeah, I snagged one at 30.
Yeah, it was just dumb. You live, you learn.
Yep. All right, Nate. This is a chunky episode. I think we're gonna wrap her. We're gonna wrap her here tonight. Yeah, good episode. As I said, no Saturday episode this week. We'll hit EV in 2 weeks, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Peace out, people.